Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
there you are.
I hope you weren't waiting long. I was hoping I wasn't coming in too early.
No, no, we were waiting maybe 30 seconds. Not long at all. You arrived just on time.
Great. Hello. Hi, everyone.
All right, everybody. So I am super excited to announce our next speaker is Stephanie Warlick. She's a dynamic business leader who's been helping companies unlock their potential through fractional leadership, operation strategy, and human resources smarts. As the founder and CEO of 5 Feet View Consulting, Stephanie supports small and mid-sized firms in executing big vision on a practical day-to-day level. She's also an author and a trusted voice in the world of business operations and culture. So I'm super excited to have you here today and super excited to meet you. Kind of tell us about your story. What led up to you starting your own business and becoming who you are?
Thank you for asking. And thank you for having me today, everyone, giving me your attention for a few minutes. Before I start, I want to say thank you for your service. I'm so grateful for all that you have given for our country and your spouses as well. So thank you. Um, Gosh, I was here with you guys a few weeks ago. I don't know if this is a repeat story, but I'll start back at the beginning. And I got here in a really crazy roundabout way, which is probably because I'm ADD. I didn't learn that till later in life, but my journey to entrepreneurship was not traditional. And maybe it's not for many that are entrepreneurs because we're visionaries. We constantly have ideas, and we are always looking for the next thing that excites our brains, I guess is how that works. But I did grow up in family small businesses, and each of my parents, as well as my in-laws who I met when I was very young, were entrepreneurs. And that's just very exciting for me. I am a person and a personality that likes to see the beginning and end of processes. And so
Mhm.
when I can develop and grow things and launch them, I love that. I also was an athlete in my younger years, and I often find that business success feels like scoring a goal or winning a track meet or something like that. So I love the thrill of that. Do
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
do you want me to should I keep going, or you want to direct
No,
questions at
no,
me?
I can whatever, however you'd like to run it. What led you to starting your company then? What did this career call to you?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So in this particular role that I'm in, I'm serving as a fractional chief operating officer, and I lead a group of C-suite executives so that we can all, um, meaning anybody who is like a chief marketing officer, a chief executive officer, chief operating officer, we work part-time in companies. So we're serving a whole bunch of companies. Well, now I am serving those individuals, trying to get them into other companies. And it's because I love running small business. I was in a small business with my husband for about 24 years, and we decided not to keep our financial eggs all in one basket. So I went out into the corporate space. I went into government contracting for about 10 years and then was in software development. After 12 years of being in the corporate space, I realized the corporate world is just not for me. And what I love is small business, and I love supporting founder-led small businesses. So I decided to start my own and bring all those years of knowledge that I gained from small and medium and big enterprise business back to supporting other small businesses and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. Small businesses are so underappreciated. They get overshadowed by those big ones a lot. For people who might not know, what exactly does a fractional executive do? Like, what do you do for those small companies?
Yeah, so it really depends on the fractional C-suite role that somebody might be in. So as an operating officer, I help make process. I might serve as the go-between between staff and the founder or the owner, and help make sure that the machines are all running and on time. If you're a chief marketing officer, you'd handle marketing responsibilities. There might be a chief technology officer handling all the technical infrastructure. So it really depends on that person's C-suite specialty. But as a fractional, we work sometimes 10 or 15 hours a week in a company and go in and embed ourselves in the company virtually or in person and support the company as if we're an employee. It's a little bit different than a consultant. Some people think that we're consultants, and I guess we could be largely bucketed into the consulting category. But really, we have found, and we being the other fractional executives find that consultants often provide strategy and concept and tell you what needs to be done, whereas
Mhm.
fractional executives go right in and actually perform the work. And it's because the other leaders just don't have the bandwidth to get it done. And sometimes they don't have the expertise. But
Yeah.
most of the people on my team have about 30 years of business experience to bring in all our knowledge to help younger businesses really accelerate.
Yeah, that's super cool. How long does your team usually stay within the company?
An average engagement is 6 to 18 months, so it really
Oh,
depends. We
wow.
ask for a minimum of 90 days. We can be super effective in much shorter than 90 days and impactful. However, we do believe that at a minimum 90 days, anything kind of 90 days or less would really be a project. And we will work on projects as well, but really we're there to embed. We could also be an interim person for, let's say, a maternity leave, or somebody needs to take a sabbatical for health reasons or
Mhm.
something like that. But usually 6 to 18 months.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny that we know we're successful when we work our way out of a job. Not many people say that, but
Yeah, no, absolutely. What does it look like after you guys leave? Say you do that 6 to 18 months in a company. Do you have any contact with them after that? Or do you just kind of leave them with whatever knowledge you left?
we sure could. I mean, I guess every scenario would be different. Again, we sort of work our way out because they've outgrown us. And so that's
Okay.
usually us having transitioned to someone else that has taken over the role in a full-time employed capacity. But we could always certainly serve as an advisor.
Okay. So you help a lot of them implement strategic change. What do you think some of the largest pitfalls organizations face when they're going about that change?
Change management is difficult. And it's not just strategy, but it's actually execution. So a big part of bridging the gap between strategy and execution is helping people within a team understand why we're making changes,
Mm.
uh, how they're impacted by the changes, the benefits of the organization and them for any changes, really getting organizational buy-in. That is a big part of change management, so that everybody understands why we're making the changes, and it can be ultimately successful. Because if there's not organizational buy-in, it usually would fail.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, yeah. Somebody asked in the chat, they said, do you provide any OJT to get spun up in a role, or are the new employees expected to know the role on day one?
So my fractional executives are all consultants. They are not direct employees. They have 30 years of experience, usually in general. I say 30, that's a really good average of the team. I've got about 50 people on the team. When they go on a client site, it is all on the job training. They start day one and they're expected to just dive in head first day one. But again, with 30 years of experience, there's very little that we tend to see at this point in our career that's absolutely brand new. We might have different names and they might call processes different things, but it's usually not to offend anyone, but usually the same circus, different town.
Yeah, yeah.
So, usually it is on the job training. You just jump right in to get it done.
Wow, that's so crazy. I can't imagine just jumping into a company that I've never been in before and just do it over and over again. That is so cool. How,
Yeah. Uh,
how does somebody that wants to get into this space, how could they get in without any experience? Say they don't have any experience now, but they find what you're talking about super interesting. Where could they start?
I think expertise in any particular area is the starting place to being a consultant or a fractional executive. Each in my team, each of us have actually served in a C-suite role.
Mm,
So we have proven ourselves there, and we do have expertise. Any expertise can really serve as a mentor or a guide to anybody else. It doesn't need to be in a fractional capacity. And so many of the folks here on the call have brilliant expertise in all kinds of areas that other people haven't had the fortunate experience to gain. There's always individuals that want to learn things from people that have more experience than them.
Yeah.
So actually social media, if one isn't prepared to be a C-suite executive, but you do have expertise, advertising and social media that you can train and mentor individuals is a great place to put yourself out there and earn money teaching people things.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people in this call have 20 plus years of experience and some super cool stuff. So if anybody on this call was looking to like collaborate on your team, are you looking to expand anytime soon?
I am always looking. Jordy and I are talking about that, whether we're going to bring people. So I work and do perform some work for Jordy. So we are talking about bringing people in to support actually Seven Eagle through my team. Um, Possibly. I am not hiring yet. I'm only using consultants just because I am only 2 years old and
Yeah.
don't have the revenue for that yet. But yes, not yet, but definitely through helping Seven Eagle. So Jordy and I are talking about that now.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Um,
So I have some others. So I was here a few weeks ago. Do you know how many people are new from who I spoke to a few weeks ago? Do we have a new
I
audience or is it the
I
same audience?
I don't know exactly how many are new. I'm sure we do have some new, but there are some overlaps as well.
All right, do you mind if I do maybe a hand raise of
Yeah,
anybody
100%.
or anybody new out there and I'll give some of the same spiel. I just don't want to make sure that I don't give it to too many
Yeah.
anybody new.
Okay. Looks like everyone that's raising their hand, are you guys new? Okay. Yeah. It looks like we have a
Yeah.
bunch of new people. Oh my goodness.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah. There's a
Let me
bunch of new
give
people.
Great. So for those of you that heard me a few weeks ago, bear with me. Let's just I got some positive feedback that was helpful information. So you might hear it for the second time, but feel free to ask questions. Let me just share some of the information about entrepreneurship as
Yeah.
you're transitioning into the workplace. So really, I am an entrepreneur, and the reason I'm an entrepreneur, as I said, is I like new things. I like to build things. I like to create things. So as you are transitioning in the workplace, you might be trying to figure out, do I want to go into the corporate world? Do I want to do my own thing? Or some of you are just saying, I just want the lowest key job I can possibly get and just chill at home for a little bit. That's a really valid response as well. So I think as you make this transition, because I've also been in human resources for a long time, super important that, and I say that to say that I've interviewed and hired hundreds and hundreds of people over the last 30 years. What I want to suggest to you is that you really zero in on what your strengths are. When you find your strengths, align those strengths with your passions. So I'm going to use the same old lame example that I gave a few weeks ago, but for instance, I love to sing, but I can't sing to save my life. So while singing is a passion of mine, I'm not going to go find a job in that because I don't have a strength or a skill there. Literally, people tell me to stop singing. And the music teacher in fourth grade told me not to sing too loud, and that's not a joke. So, um, align your passion with your strengths, and if you can find that match, you'll be able to find a place that will be a workplace or a work profession that you would enjoy as you're coming out and possibly transitioning. And when you look at the corporate space, if that's where you decide to go, just know that there are different types of corporate structures. If you're at a startup and an entrepreneurial company, pretty much nothing is structured. It's very unstructured, it's very unorganized, there's no SOPs documented, and you kind of wing it, unless you're the person that needs to sit down and document those SOPs. That can be really frustrating to some of you guys because you're used to a really regimented, structured organization. So maybe you do need to look at something that's a little bit more of a mature company that has things documented that tells you, this is my swim lane, this is exactly what I need to do and guides you. And then, of course, there's companies that are in between. A company that is small might be under 20 people and under 5 million. It could be up to 20 million. A mid-sized company is going to be like 20 to 50 people and probably 5 to 40 or 50 million, maybe 60 million. Anything above that probably should have documented processes. So as you look at the company, just kind of understand where you're going to fit that's going to align with your personality, because otherwise it could be super frustrating. Again, I'm a person who loves entrepreneurship. I love a blank canvas. I love a blank slate. I feel like you've got so much room, and entrepreneur owners are usually like, if you want to do that, go for it. You get to have lots of opportunities for change and development, and that's really my thing. But again, if you're not, and that's really why I didn't like corporate world, it was just way too structured for me, and I felt like I couldn't see the beginning of a process and the end of the process, and I didn't feel what I was contributing was adding value because I didn't know why I was doing it and what it was going toward. And so I really want to just impress upon you about aligning those and finding the right place as you go out into the corporate space. I have a couple other tips for you as you make this
Yeah.
job transition. Are there, I see Deandra has a question. Is that, is
That's
your
just from
hand?
earlier, Deandra, or do you have a question?
Nope, it went away. Okay, anybody
No,
have any
that was
questions?
from earlier. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
No problem. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to the
Yeah.
next?
Anybody have any questions about the career field or starting a business in general? It's okay. We get to keep talking. I'm sure somebody will throw one up eventually.
All right, that's good. I will, I'll go into a couple other things that we touched on last time that really resonated with some folks, and that is you guys might be feeling doubt, you might be feeling imposter syndrome, you might be just in general like overwhelmed with this concept of going out into the workforce. And I won't kid you to say that it's not different. Being a person in government contracting and having, number one, worked with many former military staff, and also having a future son-in-law who was in the Marines for 5 years. The world is different on the outside. Um, the I'm a really diligent hard worker, and I do what I say and I say what I do. But there's a lot of people in the world that don't do that. And so when you're in the corporate world, you have coworkers that don't hold up their end of the bargain. They don't get their part of the job done, and that impacts your success. And that's super frustrating because guess what? Nothing really happens. Most of the time, people just get away with poor performance. And I think you're used to a world where people are held more accountable to get their job done. So just know that that happens, and all you can control is what you can control. Um, and I encourage you to learn and educate yourself in a variety of ways. When I say learn and educate yourself in a variety of ways, I'm going to suggest what I call stand in the gap. So when you go into the workforce, if you see something that's not being done because either somebody doesn't have that role and responsibility or because somebody's not performing it well, you could just raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to do that. Now, again, that's going to be a little bit hard for you because it's not traditionally what you know is your role and responsibility. But in the corporate world, leaders are always anxious for someone to raise their hand and say, hey, I'll take that. Like, sure, you want that ball, you got that. You want that, sure, you got that, because there's so much work to be done and people wear so many hats. So just raise your hand, and guess what? If nothing else, maybe you got a little bit of work, but nothing else, you learn a new skill, a new strength, a new core competency that you could take with you if you choose to go somewhere else. When I did this in the corporate space, because I was one failing because somebody before me or after me wasn't doing their work properly,
That
I took on.
what I say.
We have a hot mic. There we go. I think she turned it off. Sorry
What I
about that.
say.
Hey, Deandra.
Yes.
Hi, you're talking to us. What are you looking to do? Come on, tell me, you got off mic. What are you looking to do as you transition?
Looking for either production clerk is what they call it in the civilian world, or database and analysis
Database analysis or production what?
Production
clerk.
clerk?
I don't know that word or that phrase for the
That's
corporate world.
the civilian term for my rate is for aviation administration.
Aviation, got it. Administration. Are you comfortable with where you are going into the corporate world, or do you have any hesitations?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't figure it out till a couple of years ago, and I'm 54 now, almost 55. So it turns out that what I didn't do, you guys, was follow my passion. I kind of kept going down a path that I thought I needed to make more money or what was expected of me. And that's really why I started with telling you to find your passion, because work can be hard and it's long and we spend more time with our work folks than we do. That's probably not unfamiliar to you guys. We spend more time with our people at work than we do our families. It's not different out in the corporate world. So make sure you love what you do. Um, but I'll jump back to standing in the gap, and that is just raise your hand, say I'll try it, learn something new. When I went into government contracting the first place, I survived 8 rounds of layoffs, and the reason I did that was because I kept volunteering to learn something new and try something new and take on another responsibility. So when it got to laying off, they're looking at who could do what. They said, well, let's keep her, because even though she's in this role, she can do this, this, and this. And that helped me get in the corporate space, even moving to the next company, total of 7 raises and promotions over 10 years.
Wow.
So just consider that as you go into that it's okay to go out of your swim lane and to try new things and to raise your hand to take on additional responsibilities. If that's not your thing and you don't want to, don't worry about it. The great news is, differently than when I started working 30 years ago, there is a culture that is being developed by the younger generation right now we don't have to work 15 hours a day. We can have a normal work day, and a lot of cultures are modifying to have that be more acceptable, and that's amazing. I don't really know how to do that because I'm older and old school, so I still tend to work a lot. But um, any fears and doubts that you have, just put them aside and know that um, taking the first step, opening a new door, trying something new is the way to go. And everybody has fears and doubts, but you got to try new things, and you can always try the next thing if it doesn't work out for you.
Yeah. What advice would you give to somebody in here that maybe a lot of us tend to go towards that government contracting after their military service just because that's what we're comfortable with? What would you say to somebody that's kind of struggling to find that purpose? They don't really know what their passion for work is.
I mean, I think the only way to get there is self-reflection, right? Go take a walk in the woods, go chop wood, do whatever you need to do, but you gotta dig deep and think about what that is. Um,
Yeah.
I personally, it struck me one day because I was so unhappy in the corporate space, and I read a book, and the book kind of spoke to me, and I actually shared it when I was here a few weeks ago. It was called Range, and it's because I had doubts. Most people at my level of career at this time have a master's degree, and I don't. I was a terrible student. And so I was always worried about elevating in up to the C-suite, thinking that people wouldn't see value in the work that I had done, despite all my successes. And um, it is because of that varied set of experiences that I was just sharing with you about standing in the gap. I know accounting, I know finance, I know customer service, I know procurement, I know human resources, I know quality, I know the warehousing. I did all of those things. And because I did all of those things, I was really a generalist. I have a lot of breadth and not a lot of depth. It's not like somebody's going to call me to perform surgery or do any of those deeply, because I didn't stay in one area for the last 20 years. I have a lot of experiences over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And that breadth of experiences has really put me in a generalist position where people don't know where to put me. Well, are you a finance person? Are you an HR person? Are you a procurement person? I'm like, well, I'm all of it. So I
Mhm.
read this book called Range, and Range basically lauded people that are generalists, saying that breadth of experience is what makes you great. And you can continue to learn these things to develop these skills. And when you have these breadths of experience, then you have different perspectives to bring to the different jobs and roles that you have. And so that's why I really encourage people to do that stand in the gap thing, because while I didn't know that's what I was doing over the years of my career, it really did serve me well to be very successful. And so that book, when I read it, I was like, I don't have to doubt myself anymore. I'm just going to go out there and do what I love, and that is small businesses. And I don't care anymore that I don't have a master's. I've got really good experience that I can help small businesses be successful.
Yeah.
Hi,
I love
Jason.
that. Oh,
I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Jason. No, you're all right.
Hey Stephanie, how you doing?
Hi, great. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, it's impressive, like all the things you've been talking about and all your experiences. Did you have a mentor? Um, because I mean, like that sounds scary, to be honest. Like going through all that, like the 8 layoffs, and then the speaker before with the same kind of the same kind, like the term "pull the rug out from under them" uh, was is kind of eye opening, you know.
Yeah. Well, those layoffs, to not set fear in you now, I'm not saying it's not happening, but those for me happened a long time ago. So 14-ish years ago. So, or yeah, 12 to 14 years ago. So I'm just saying that it helps to develop those skills. It sure can be scary. Change is something that we can't control. All we can control is our response and what else we learn to develop our skills. And your other question was, did I have mentors? And yes, I'm privileged to say I had several mentors, and one of them was the gentleman that brought me into government contracting. It's someone I knew. He was a customer of mine at one point in my small business. He was also a vendor of mine in my small business, and he's over the years become a dear friend. He worked for CACI and had just been promoted to run a division, and said, I love the way you run your business. I need you to come dot my I's and cross my T's at my business. Will you come join me? And the timing for me was right. Like I said, my husband and I didn't want to have our small business be our one source of income anymore. So I went and did that. And then also at CACI, I gained another mentor who taught me all the finance and project control aspect that I had never known. And he's still a dear friend of mine to this day. And then the next government contractor that I went to, the COO at that company, has become a dear friend and mentor. Each of those people taught me different things about running business, about how to communicate up, and how to communicate down in the chain of command. And so I don't take those relationships lightly, and I encourage everyone to network and develop those relationships and ask people, teach you, show me, just keep asking. And it has served me very well in my career.
Yeah. Over your career, you've been in and you've led a lot of different teams. What do you think are some qualities that make up a really good team?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked this. This is one of my favorite topics. A well-rounded team. So I'm a big believer in diversity of all types. And it sort of goes back to that concept of standing in a gap and having a breadth of experience. Each one of those experiences, just like a diverse team, has a different perspective of how you process things, of how you solve problems, of how you mitigate risk. And so the more diversity you can have of experiences and people in your team, the stronger that team is. And of course, optimizing each person's strengths and abilities. I always bring in people that are smarter than me. There's a lot of people that don't do that because they fear that someone might take their job if the next person they bring in is smarter than them. I always bring in people that are better than me, and it's because of the areas that I know I don't have strength. I'm a procrastinator. It's back to my ADD, ADHD. I procrastinate when I'm overwhelmed. So when I hire my key right-hand people, I always bring in people that tackle those big, hairy projects first, because that's not me, man. I have 6 projects sitting here on my desk that have been sitting here for 3 weeks, and I'm like, where is my person to help me get this done? Because I cannot focus to get them done. I always take care of the low-hanging fruit because it helps me feel better about getting stuff off the to-do list. But I've got some big projects that I have to get done very soon.
No, I'm absolutely the same way. Getting those little ones that you can check off easily is just, it's so easy. And then those big ones,
I
oh,
see a couple nods out there. I won't call you out, but I see a couple nods out there. I know that a couple other people can relate to that too. And
yeah, no, I'd love for anybody that's nodding to kind of come up and speak. Like, how do you, if you're a procrastinator as well, how do you get over it or how do you fix it? Stephanie said that she has somebody on her team that helps her and they're the opposite of her. Does anybody else have any other things that they do?
I'd say I'm the exact. Well, it's we have a lot in common because I do the exact same thing. I'd say my wife is the one that I'm not going to say bugs me, but pokes me until I get things done. But
yeah,
also, I'm looking to do the exact same, well, maybe not the exact same, but consulting LLC for small to medium businesses. So I just invited you on LinkedIn actually to
perfect.
connect, and I'd love to hear some perspective on how that's treated you down the road and how you grew it from nothing. Because I'm in like I just bought the domain and I'm looking to start it officially near Knoxville in Tennessee. So
Okay, Fred, happy to connect and help you, get started. That is one of the things that I do, and I'm here to support you guys however I need. This is my fourth company. The other three were smaller. Well, one was big. The other two were very small consultancies. And this one's kind of on its way to being medium now. So I love doing it. I've definitely learned a lot over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for speaking up.
Thank you.
When you
I saw
first,
someone else
oh,
put a tip out there. One of our people that doesn't procrastinate said, break it into small parts right away. Thank you, Kate.
yeah,
That's what I heard you people do. I'm not very, that is the advice, to break it up into small parts and tackle the small
yeah.
parts, don't try and boil the ocean, but it's hard. It's hard. You have to make that plan first, and that's
It
still
is,
step
yeah.
one.
I'll try to do that and then I'll get overwhelmed. I'll end up looking at it all anyway.
That's
Derek,
right.
you have a question?
Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Um, Derek, you're sounding a bit like you're in a fishbowl. I don't know. Okay.
I thought it was me. I was like, okay, I can't
No,
hear.
I did for a second
I'm a
too.
little deaf.
I know you have that good gamer setup, Derek. You better. Can you put your LinkedIn?
Yes, I can. I have to look it up. So hold on one sec. I should have it memorized. I literally type it a million times a day. But let me pull that up while you guys are here, and I will do that. I post on LinkedIn every day. I'm usually posting about fractional leadership, but there's lots of great business and leadership tips that I put out there as well. And the last time I did this, I got like 50 connections from you guys, and I'll
Oh,
reply. I
amazing.
try and reply to everyone in a timely fashion, but just to say, absolutely, I'm happy to help and give advice to anyone. That's the least I could do for all you've done for us. It is in LinkedIn.
Perfect. I was curious that you mentioned starting up all your businesses. Was there any point in any of them where you thought that it might not work? And I was curious on how you got through that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the two small ones I closed down because I was just done putting effort into it, and other things took priority. The first big business that my husband and I had, after the 2008 economy, was a challenge. And that's actually a really big lesson learned that I got from one of my mentors. And that is to shut a business down or to close down a division because a business is no longer meeting your needs financially. It's no longer serving you. It's actually good business. That was a really hard lesson for me to learn because my husband and I are just hard workers, and we would grind it out, and we'd work 20 hours a day, and we just kept thinking we'll work harder and harder and harder. And of course it's going to succeed because we've never known anything else. Of course, when you
Yeah.
work hard, it's just going to succeed. Doesn't always happen that way in business. It doesn't matter how much hard work and effort and money and whatever you throw at it. If something's broken, recognizing that it's not going to work, you can always pivot. But at some point, we had put enough money into it that we just said this isn't working anymore. And I think what happened was after the 2008 kind of economic bust, there were other companies that were bringing in other equipment that was more technologically advanced than us, and we just couldn't afford that equipment. So we did choose to shut down, and that was a good decision. We probably should have done it years before. We had at one point had 60 staff at the time we closed. We were down to 12 staff, and we felt so obliged to give them their payroll and support them and their families because they had been so loyal to us for so long that we just took longer to close down. It really was part of our family, or they were part of our family. So I think that, you make a plan, you set goals and objectives, and recognize if you're continually not able to meet those goals and objectives, it's time to make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. That takes a lot of heart to be able to realize that and really do it. It's really hard.
It does.
A lot of self-reflection. I'm sure starting up a small businesses too, you have to really network. How did you learn how to do that? Or what were some tactics you went about to get your name out there when you guys were so small?
Yeah, we have been very fortunate in that while I did network, I did traditional networking groups, cold calling, cold emailing, LinkedIn outreach. Those are all the things that we did do or are doing now. But word of mouth marketing has always been, for me, a consistent source of business. I ask my clients, it's sort of like when you go in for car repair and they say, I want to score a 10 by the time you leave here. And if there's any reason at any point I'm not going to score a 10 on meeting or exceeding your expectations, please let me know. And I don't actually treat it like a car repair and say exactly that, but I will say I want to exceed your expectations and let me know. And I think putting my action into words and exceeding customer expectations and always giving them more than what they want and need is how I get referral business from them.
Okay. Really interesting. We talk a lot about networking just because we're starting our network kind of from scratch right now. A lot of us have been in since we were teenagers. So I like to ask everybody how they go about it and how they do it because everyone does it so different.
So LinkedIn is definitely a place to do it. I know you guys have lessons on that. Tighten up your LinkedIn profile, and I can give anybody guidance there. If you are an expert in a particular area, putting yourself out as a thought leader by putting out posts and articles that educate individuals and add value is a great way to grow your connections. You can always reach out to people out there and ask to connect, but certainly joining networking groups. So I probably, well, I'm not active in a networking group. I'm sorry. I said the word networking group, and what I meant to say, I attend free webinars all the time to educate myself. And while I'm on a webinar, let's just say it looks like a session like this, people are usually introducing themselves, just like you're connecting yourself to me. You can connect with other people that are in your sphere of your specialty, and networking with other people that do similar things is a great way. I also, in my business, work a lot with partners. So trying to think of an example. So there's a software that I recommend, and I recommend that software because I think it's good for business. And they say, hey, we recommend Stephanie Warlick and 5 Foot View because they do this. And so having synergistic partnerships with people that you have many of the same clientele, but you're not in a competing space is also a great way to grow business.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's amazing. My last question, everyone else, if anybody else has any other questions, please raise your hand. But my last one is if somebody wants to start a business in here, what do you think their first step should be from ground zero, any kind of business? What do you think their first thought should be on that? Or maybe action?
That is such a loaded question. Let me see. I'm going to go with
Let me
there's
know
so
if it's
many
too broad.
there's so
Sorry.
so many actions, but I guess I would say to start a business, make sure it's a passion, because unlike a job, when you choose to start a business, you're never off. Yes, you have flexibility. Yes, you control your own schedule, but is a 24/7 job and your mind never shuts off. So you must make sure that it's something that you feel very passionate about. And I do work a ton, but I love what I do. And that's what gets me up every day because I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'd say that for any career, even if you're not starting your own business, just like you said, make sure it's a passion.
Yeah. Yeah. Derek, did you get your audio worked out? Do you have a question?
No, that was my question. Do I
I
sound
think it
better
was,
now?
yeah, it was just you do sound
Oh,
better. It was
great.
just him asking for your LinkedIn.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yep, it's
Yeah, that
out
was it.
there.
I just want to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to connect with you if possible, and of course myself. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime. I'm happy to, guys, I'm here. I have as much time as you have. If anybody has any questions about corporate, entrepreneurial, government contracting, human resources,
Yeah.
interviewing, recruiting,
She's
throw it
really
at
not
me.
at all. So if anybody, I know we
You
have
can
a bunch
tell
of
I'm overdoing dyeing my hair. There's definitely like, right, I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. You have it looks like you had your hand in every pot. Well,
It's a quiet group today.
yeah, yeah.
All right, well, you know where to find me on LinkedIn. If I can
Yeah.
answer anything else for you, I'm happy to support you. Thank you for your time and thank you again for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with us today, Stephanie. It was really nice having you, and it was great meeting you.
You too. Thank you for having me. Take care.